Here's how we start the second hour of the show. We started in Montreal's village. Now, Mayor Valérie Plante and Police Chief Fadi Daguerre toured the streets of the village, meeting with residents, trying to reassure people living in the area that things have gotten better and things will get better when it comes to safety. And this is a part of town that I know very well because I lived there for 4 years. Just moved in November away from downtown, and Olivia and I, having a baby on the way, we were just saying, we can't do it. There's drug use on the streets now. We're literally walking outside of our house, and a block away, someone will be doing drugs on the street. And we said, no, we've got to go, right? So I know this situation very well. First things first, let's listen to some of the people on the ground yesterday in the village, some residents, and the mayor and the police chief.
Reality is that shelters are full since last October, and it's been said in the media clearly. So where are you going to bring these people?
It's hard to find employees. It's hard to find customers. Sometimes it's hard to keep customers because the street has some issues and they have to deal with that every day. So we're hoping all these measures are going to help.
We had over 7,000 hours implicated in the village, so patrolling the village for 7,000 hours.
We did put together a lot of efforts since last year to assure the security, and we know it's not all resolved and it's not perfect because it takes different measures. Efforts
and results. Let's try and find out a little bit more. Benoit Langevin joins us from Ensemble Montréal. He's responsible for this dossier at City Hall for the opposition. Benoit, welcome to the program.
Thank you for inviting me, Elias. Mayor Bates says hi, by the way.
Oh, wonderful. Say hi to Jim. Good guy out there in Pierrefonds-Roxboro. Okay, so Benoit, give me your assessment because I think there have been efforts. I mean, I did see it. I saw an increase in policing 1 week. I remember seeing that specifically. I'm sure the efforts are there, but let's talk about the results. Why haven't the results come, perhaps, with those efforts?
Well, Elias, the first thing I want to say after the introduction of the subject is there's one thing missing to the whole equation is money, because intervention has a cost. Investing in nonprofits to have more outreach work has a cost. But at the end of the day, if your budget at the city stays at 0.09% of a $7 billion total budget, and you're not going to increase, even if you realize that there's more and more issues with cohabitation, you need to question yourself as an administration. Last budget, we've asked to double the amount of money that was given to nonprofits when it comes to outreach work, and it was refused. It was a decision from Projet Montréal to refuse that we double in order to fulfill the lack of outreach worker. And first thing I want to say is that there have been 11,000 social intervention as presented. Yes, there has been some increase in investment, but where's the evaluation? Because again, we're fed with an activity report. Is it sufficient? Have we given ourselves indicators to verify if if the situation really evolves? On what does the Plante administration base themselves on saying that the situation is getting better? We have more police there. Fine. Good. It's important. It's part of the plan that we've proposed as well at Ensemble Montréal when we went last June with a proposal to the administration and asked them to actually fulfill what we actually, when we went to consult with the SDC, and they gave us a full list, and we arrived to the administration, and still there is lax in their intervention plan, and especially when it comes to funding the money, the effort that the city makes in order for cohabitation to exist. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean the lack of investment when it comes to outreach work.
Okay,
and it is a good program.
Okay, but what I want to get into, if it comes down to money, right? This is when I start to get a little bit skittish, because I don't think you can just throw money and more money and more money and magically it solves problems. I think strategy matters the most, and often we can just do a better job with the money that we have. Now, you brought up nonprofits here, and one of the concerns that I spent 4 years living in this area, okay? And I saw too much money being spent on making drug use easier. okay? Creating safe sites to go and use drugs, making it easier, providing more programs to make it easier to live a life of drug use on the streets, and then no enforcement to crack down when people are using drugs in alleyways right out there, right? And I'd walk by it and nothing done to crack down on that. So I worry, okay, let's just throw more money to keep with those same types of programs. I don't think it gets better. So is it just money, or is your strategy, would it also be different than what the current administration is doing?
Absolutely, because the first thing I want to say, the big absent of this conference was the fact that there was no representatives that were from the nonprofit world, such as outreach work, like where was Spec de Rue? Where was these community groups that are underfunded, that don't have sufficient tools in order to fulfill their own mission? So you're absolutely right to say that there has to be more repression, and there has been. But the reality is that the village is in an area where there's an increase when it comes to poverty, and it's like a funnel effect where there's many resources around it, and there has to be, like you said, a strategy with the different partners. But to arrive with a press conference based on no indicator, as you say there's more people consuming. Yesterday there was an intervention of the Cactus Montréal, and he was saying that he's drinking an ocean with a teaspoon. Mm-hmm. Saying that he has so many people ODing. And on top of that, Elias, yesterday, when the mayoress came out of the conference, she was faced with an ambulance with a person that was ODing. It was the perfect example of a public relations exercise gone bad. And you're absolutely right there. There's more and more needs, but the funding has to come as well when it comes from the city. Okay,
but so I think I'm happy you brought up Cactus, right? Because they're a group, and they clamor. They want more funding to be open 24 hours a day, right? To offer a safe site for injections, right? If for people who want to use drugs. And they've clamored for more money. And then I talk to people that live in the condos around Cactus, right? And they say when they opened up, things didn't get better, right? The argument is, hey, if you open up a safe injection site, the community will be safer. And then I talk to the residents who say, no, things got worse after they opened. And now we're talking about, well, let's give them more money, let's double down, right? And I'm trying to figure out if that will make things better or worse. And again, it comes down to money will solve the problem or not. I'm not so sure. I think strategy is part of the problem.
I'm not saying that just money pays for strategy. When it comes to a strategy, when you talk about the 24 hours requesting from Cactus, it is demonstrated that every shelter that offers a 27 operation, there is more tendency of having the people inside and being able to keep them with their luggage, with the things that they're carrying around, and having less of a nuisance in the surroundings. So, yes, the 24 hours is an approach, is an investment that is good for cohabitation. So, I mean, it's not a simple problematic. It comes with many strategies, and it also comes from let's say, a village approach, the village that's dealing with the situation, but also at a Montreal-wide approach as well, in the sense that right now, when I was talking about outreach workers lacking pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic, there's 40 outreach workers missing. And that's what the RAPSIN is telling us, and all the experts in the entire island of Montreal, that there's less prevention made and more social mediation made, which is answering to a 311 call, but not really addressing the core roots of these issues and bringing these people towards housing, towards emergency shelters. And the shelters, let's be honest, like I was quoted at the beginning of your presentation, they were full since October. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's a lack of resources. There is a lack. I understand that it sounds like we just want more money. It sounds like there has to be money thrown at something, but that money is actually going to prevent other types of services to spend other money. Because every time we invest in those type of intervention, it's less policing on site. It's less. Also, it's more access to libraries. Yeah. It has an impact, a financial impact on every services of the city. And we can talk about the SCTM and the people not feeling secure to go at Émilie-Gamelin or to take the metro nowadays. Because
and that's what and this is what it comes down to. Sorry, Benoit, because we're going to have to wrap up pretty soon.
Yeah.
But this is what it comes down to me, right? That politicians have to make a decision because there is social pain and social cost to everything. So when there's a drug user and he's passed out and he's on a street, my heart aches for that person. It's a terrible thing for society, okay? At the same time, if a family doesn't go to the park anymore because they don't want to see that homeless person who uses drugs, who's passed out, I would say that family choosing not to go to the city's parks or not go to Parc Émilie-Gamelin or not being safe to go to the metro, that social cost is worse and they need to be put first. The family who pays taxes needs to be put first. And I wonder if just doubling down, throwing money on now, let's say 24-hour safe drug use sites puts that family first. That's what I'm wondering.
Absolutely, Elias, and I'll give you examples. If you have shelters, did you ever hear about the shelter in the West Island in Pierrefonds?
I did not, but you got to be quick. I got around 30 seconds for you if you want to get that in.
That's exactly my point. There's a way to plan these resources and to implement them in neighborhoods that will generate an environment where cohabitation is doable, is livable, and it's actually not affecting different types of citizens and there's no different types of citizens in our society. And I understand your point of saying the taxpayer, the family, but again, these people that are on the street were or will be taxpayers as well. So it's a complicated philosophy behind these individuals. They're also contributors at some point in their lives. Sometimes homelessness is just episodic.
I gotcha. Benoit, listen, I gotcha. We all want the same thing. We want things to get better. I simply do not want to say, hey, let's do what they've done in Toronto and Vancouver, because it hasn't worked there. And my worry is we're just doubling down on things that have not worked in other Canadian cities. Got to leave it there. Come back real soon. Benoit Langevin is from Ensemble Montréal. He's a councillor in Pierrefonds-Roxboro and handles the homelessness dossier.